Alright, good evening everybody. I'm going to make a short video. I talked about doing some engine building videos. I think I'm going to start with flatheads because I have so many of them. Let me show you what's going on here if I can find it. So I have flathead there, and I have all those flatheads there that I had to build for the upcoming April Fool's Flathead Day. And I'm building this one for myself to race in that. Let's see. Where in the devil is it? Right there. Alright, so I'll show you around the shop a little bit. So I got the dyno where I do the dynoing, and there's a little mill where I do most of my milling. I'm doing some powder coating right now on a flathead. I got these flatheads to build, so let's talk about that for a second. This guy, he blew his up. You can see the hole in it there, and he brought this other one over. Well, it is the lifter bores haven't been beefed up, and it's not a roller bearing. So since I would have to weld on that one anyways, I'd rather just weld the other block up, and that way we have the roller bearing and the beefed up Raptor 4 block. So I'd rather have it. If I'm gonna have to weld anyways, might as well repair the better block. So let's talk about the flatheads for a minute. So flatheads are making a comeback in my area. I don't know what they're doing in your area, but I guess if 2 or 3 people showed up with them, the tracks would let them run for sure. And the reason they got away from flatheads in the first place is the engine builders got crazy with the prices on them, and they came out with the clones, and it was, supposed to be basically out of the box stock clone, and it was cheap. But nowadays the engine builders have gotten ridiculous on the prices with the clones. I charge $1,050 myself for the clone, so they can be very expensive. A lot of engine builders just buy a kit and they throw it together, put a cam in it and put it together. They don't really do any machining or anything to it, and they sell it, $550, $650, $750, $850, something like that. So it can be a little bit cheaper, but there's nothing done to it. You're wasting your money. Might as well do it yourself if that's all you're going to do. So when I build one, you'll see why I get $1,050 for them. There's a lot of work involved. But the flatheads, there's not that much to it. Basically, everybody can do it themselves. I charge $200 plus parts to redo a flathead. So you can go buy, see flatheads all the time for $100, $150. And you can get that, pay somebody like me $200 or do it yourself and save the $200 and maybe $100, $125 worth of parts. And that's if it needs a billet rod, which if you bought one that was already a racing engine in the past, it's probably got a billet rod in it. You just have to put new rod bolts and bearings in it, which that's $30, and you might need a new piston or at least new rings in it. So you can come out pretty cheap with a flathead. And I've seen flatheads on eBay and stuff for like $50, $60, maybe $30, $40 to ship it. So you're $100, $130, something like that. You'd have one. But it probably doesn't have the racing carburetor. It's not going to have the header or exhaust pipe and muffler if you use those. It's not going to have the air filter adapter. So you got all those extra parts. So even if you bought one, let's say for $100, that was a racing engine and it's got all these parts on it, so you don't have to buy them, then let's say you open it up and it's 35 thousandths oversized piston, and so there's no need to work on it and rebuild it. Its life's over with. You could still go pick up another block somewhere else cheap and build it, but have all those parts for $100. The muffler and exhaust pipe or header or whatever, and chain guard and all that stuff. You'd already have it from the other motor, so it can still come out pretty cheap. And so the first thing though, when I do it for $200 is you got to send it to me clean. I don't put together no junky motors. You can see how clean this one is. So I clean them, sandblast them and everything. All the parts, you see the parts there. So it's all looks like new when I put it back together. So if you're going to build one, I mean, being clean and nice, I'm powder coating the cover for it. If you're going to build one, doing nice stuff, making it look good on the outside doesn't make it any faster. But if you don't take pride in your work and put a little effort into making it look nice on the outside, when it comes to the inside, you're not going to take pride in your work either. You're not going to be tedious when you're setting the valves and spring and all that stuff that goes into one. And machining, if you have to do that, you have to be tedious with it. You have to care about what you're doing. So if you're willing to do it on the outside of the motor where it doesn't matter, you'll be willing to do it on the inside too. So anyways, the cleaning parts probably takes longer than actual building the motor, so that's the reason for $200 I expect people to send them to me clean. And some of the guys don't have sandblasters, people don't, so I'll let them come over to my shop and use my parts washer and sandblaster and get it clean. After hours they can come over and do that, and that helps me out so I don't have to do all that extra work, and they get presented with a nicer looking block. So anyways, I'm going to keep it short tonight. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. When we, next video, we'll start on building that one that I'm building for myself. And then when I'm finished with these, we'll go ahead and start a video on building the clones. And I got to run because it's getting close to 8 and we got a drawing to do here in a few minutes. So we'll see you later. Thank you for watching. Bye.